Hello, gorgeous souls. Welcome to this very special video where we're going to be talking about Lyra and Vega Starseeds and the cradle of galactic civilization. So welcome to my channel, the Starseed Sanctuary. I am Dr. Heather. And if you're new here, I'm so glad that you found this video, and it would mean a lot if you just took a minute and hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with all of the fabulous cosmic content I create to help you on your healing and awakening journey. So let's get into it. This is a very special video, you guys. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the Lyra Constellation, the Stars of Lyra, some deep space objects near Lyra, of course, some galactic history of Lyra and Vega, the felines, avians, and humans. Oh my, all of the different species that hail from this star system. We are going to talk a bit about the Lyra-Draco War, the Galactic Diaspora that happened thereafter. We're also going to cover Lyra and Vega Starseeds, their traits, their auras, as well as how to discover your soul's connection to this ancient starseed family by unlocking some Lyra and Vega codes in your star chart, as well as the Lyra alignment. So a very comprehensive video here. Okay, so let's jump into it. So Lyra, also sometimes pronounced Lyra, is a small constellation in size, about 52nd in size, in the northern sky. And it represents the lyre, a musical instrument that is often associated with the myth of Orpheus, the Greek musician and poet. This constellation was cataloged by Ptolemy in the 2nd century. We have the Lyrid meteor shower, aka the April Lyrids, which is one of the oldest known meteor showers, with records dating back more than 2,600 years. And the Lyrids peak around April 21st to 24th each year in the Northern Hemisphere. Beautiful if you can get out beyond the light pollution and see some shooting stars. The brightest star in Lyra, borrowed from medieval Latin Vega, it was later called Vega, meaning the descending eagle. Originally a name applied to the 3 stars, Alpha, Beta, and Gamma, Lyra. So it's very interesting because we've covered a lot of the Avian star families here, and it's almost like Lyra is an honorary member of the Avian star families for its signification as the descending eagle, and so many of the different Avian star races that did originate here as well. Lyra is absolutely connected to the Avian star races, including the blue Avians. Even though they do originate from another dimension altogether, they did settle in Lyra at one point as well. So the stars of Lyra. So the brightest star is Vega, Alpha Lyra. It's the 5th brightest star in the sky, and it's also the 2nd brightest star in the northern hemisphere. Only Arcturus in the northern hemisphere is brighter, so Vega's a really easy one to find in the night sky. It is approximately 25 light years distant from Earth, and Vega was the first star other than the sun to be photographed and the first to have its spectrum recorded. And it was once the pole star around 12,000 BC, and it will again be the pole star around 13,727 AD. So Vega is really easy to find in the night sky because it is bright, and it's also a part of this beautiful asterism known as the summer triangle that forms between the stars Altair in the Eagle constellation and Deneb in Cygnus, the Swan, with Vega. So it's a wonderful asterism that you can find in the night sky to help you identify all 3 of those constellations. All right, so some deep space objects of Lyra, the most famous of which is the Ring Nebula, M57, also designated as NGC 6720. It's a famous planetary nebula in the Lyra constellation located just south of Vega, and also relatively easy to find, pretty popular target among amateur astronomers and astrophotographers. It is also referred to as the Starseed Ring Nebula, which has a very significant meaning for all cosmic wanderers, as it is the remains of the Lyran homeland and several Lyran planets that were destroyed by the Draco reptilians during the first galactic battle, the Draco Wars. And if you look at it a little bit, I love staring at nebulas. I find so many interesting cosmic downloads can happen from staring at pictures of nebula. It kind of looks like in the center of it, another Earth. So it almost feels like it's a portal to another realm, even though it's a destroyed star in the visible 3D sense. In a higher dimensional sense, I believe it is a portal to a timeline where Lyra was not destroyed. So take that if that resonates with you. Okay, some other pretty cool deep space objects of Lyra are Meister 56, which is the globular cluster in Lyra Constellation. Y'all know I love a globular cluster, sparkly. This has an apparent magnitude of 8.3, and it's approximately 32,900 light years distant from the solar system here. This cluster is about 84 light years across, pretty big, and it was discovered by Charles Messier on January 19th, 1779. And M56 lies about halfway between the stars of Albearo and Cygnus and Sulfat Gamma Lyra. It is the Lyran equivalent to the Pleiades. All right, let's dive into some galactic history, y'all. All right, so almost all of us currently incarnated in this galaxy feel a very deep soul connection to Lyra. And it is for this reason that Lyra, along with Star Vega, is known as the home of human consciousness and the cradle of galactic civilization. It's where our human story began on many multidimensional levels. In the beginning, only Source existed until it decided to first split itself off into two aspects, creating the Alpha Mother God Galaxy, Andromeda, the Mother Galaxy, and Omega Father God Galaxy, the Milky Way. During this time, the very first Stargate in our Milky Way galaxy was created, the Antares Stargate. And through this portal, many etheric beings from Andromeda Galaxy arrived in the Milky Way to begin this grand cosmic experimentation in physical reality, in physical form. Initially, the Galactic Center, also known as the Grand Central Sun, was established for the initial star councils, which were comprised of oversoul groups. One of the most well-known of these groups became known as the Founders, or the Elohim, described in many religious texts throughout the galaxy. They decided that they wanted to co-create life just like Source, and so they started their experimentation in the constellation of Lyra for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was fairly close to the galactic center, and number two, it had conditions most favorable for physical life. Based upon genetically human forms in higher realms and very highly evolved universes, it was decided that many forms of life would be created here in Lyra because it appeared to be ideal as far as the age of the suns, the stars, and the planets, and the length of probable stability. Even today, in our modern times, quite a few of the Kepler planets in the most inhabitable Goldilocks zone are on these astronomical lists that are actually located in the Lyra constellation, including two super Earth exoplanets, Kepler 62e and Kepler 62f. So it seems that the co-creators, the founders, knew what they were doing when they chose Lyra as their canvas to begin this grand physical experimentation with life. So first up, we have Avian. Avian was one of the planets of Lyra, a very beautiful, lush paradise planet, somewhat similar to Earth. And when the felines arrived, they were in etheric form and went through a process of evolving a physical body. After many millions of years, they evolved the lion and other felines and began incarnating into those forms. Some Lyrans have cat-like features, others more bird-like features, and some are more similar to humans. Lyrans placed a very important role in the creation of humanity and seeded some of the first souls onto Atlantis and Lemurian timelines. During the creation of humanity, the Lyrans contributed to the element of fire, the Lyran work ethic, and contributed great knowledge to Atlantis and Lemuria regarding the use of physical energy. And they're excellent at operating in the physical dimensions. They really, over time, were able to evolve their form to function exceptionally well in 3D, in physical realms. So Lyrans have mastered the energies of the divine masculine and the power of good old-fashioned physical labor. As a result, many Lyran humans who lived in the Lyran planets, particularly Avian, Avalon, Apex, Bila, Tika, and Marak, were predominantly agricultural in nature. They're farmers, good old farmers, and gardeners and horticulturalists. For approximately 40 million years, the Lyran human races became very plentiful and abundant, and they lived in peace in their beautiful paradise planets. There were several subgroups of humans in Lyra, but the main two races of humans were the first, the Nordic Lyran race, which was created to be the physical representation of the Omega Father God consciousness. And Lyrans are said to be the root race of all humanoid races in our galaxy, including Earth. And then the second of the main two races in Lyra was the blue vegan race that was created to be the physical representation of the Alpha Mother God consciousness. The vegans were a darker or blue-skinned group of humans that were likely this blue race of advanced humans mentioned in many different Vedic texts, and from whom the Hindu gods Vishnu and Krishna derived. As more divine feminine oriented race, the vegans were more introspective than the physically oriented Lyrans, and more focused on spirituality and being of service through healing. Despite focus on spirituality, the vegans were very technologically advanced, and many of them so technologically advanced, they began developing different crafts to travel the galaxies. Regarding the second founder race in Lyra, the Avian people, it's thought that just like the original felines, they also originated from another universe and came to this universe billions of years ago. They remain as a 12D group of beings, so very, very high frequency, very, very high dimensional, not in physical form. We know this founder race as the Blue Avians, or the Golden Avians as well. They have contributed to the creation of many other types of avian star families, races, and a wide range of different bird species on 3D planets in various galaxies. Eventually, many different beings on Lyra developed an expanded consciousness and this ability to move via thought. Some found themselves able to teleport to other lands and then to other planets. And this expanded their reach, and they found themselves beginning to inhabit new worlds. Okay, just quick, I had to include this because this next section is all about the Lyra-Draco War. So just a quick trigger warning. One of the reasons I have held off on creating this video sooner, it's such an important foundational information about the different galactic species and starseeds, is because it's very difficult to talk about, because those of us that have had Lyran or vegan timelines, past incarnations there, it's such a heartbreaking story for those of us that remember our lifetimes there, or for those of you that this might trigger some memories. So I just want to let you know that I've done my best possible job to create some content in this next section that accurately depicts what happened, that isn't too graphic, while still being truthful to honoring this narrative. If at any point in time you feel triggered, please pause, stop, do some grounding, and you can come back to this later. Okay, so let's dive in. So the Lyra-Draco War. So, reptilian beings originally came here to this universe from another universe after the avian and feline races were already developing here billions of years ago. The reptilian races established themselves in Draco and Orion constellation regions here in this galaxy and then set out to conquer other worlds. They created massive destruction of such large magnitude that they were removed from their original universe and kind of just deposited here in this universe in Draco constellation, soon becoming known as the Draconian or the Draco reptilian warriors. Not to be confused with the original dragon seraphim or dragon elementals, who are generally benevolent or neutral, the original inhabitants of the Draco constellation. The Draconian original lineage is a race known as the Siakar. They are the highest of that system, the Siakar elite, and they have a caste system of lower rung reptilians as well. Approximately 572 million years ago, in this current timeline, several huge crafts appeared in the sky in the Lyran star system, and reptilians from Draco appeared. These two races had previously thought that they were alone in the galaxy, and then they came into contact with each other. And we're talking about like two very opposite races in many different ways, two very different groups. When the Draconians came and saw these beautiful paradise utopian planets that the Lyrans had cultivated with all of their abundance in food and water and natural resources, the Draconians, of course, wanted to conquer and control it as they do, as their own planets were quite barren. And the Draconians actually intended on deceiving the Lyrans with the offer of a sort of treaty, an exchange of the resources from the abundant Lyran planets in return for some advanced technology from Draco. The Lyrans, although eager to obtain better technology, were a little bit hesitant to interact with the reptilians at first. They were so different, their energy was so different, and they really wanted to know more about the Draconians before they agreed to this treaty. And in their naivete, they agreed to allow the Draconians to explore their planets in the hope of getting to know this race better. Like, hey, come stay with us for a little bit. We'll vibe you out. Maybe we'll sign that treaty kind of thing. Well, the Draconians took this opportunity to scope out the weak areas and lack of defense systems in the Lyran planets. The Lyrans had never known war. They'd never been to war. They didn't have weapons. That wasn't even something in their conscious awareness. And so the Draconians took advantage of that and subsequently ambushed and annihilated many of the 14 planets in the Lyran system. As the Lyrans were a peaceful race that never knew war, violence, and deception, they were just basically defenseless and with no weapons to defend themselves. And over 50 million years, over 50 million Lyran humans were slaughtered. It looked at this point in history that the Draconians began to look at humans as food sources and slaves. What resulted was the biggest catastrophic event in this galaxy and quite possibly the entire universe. The attack forced the Lyrans to evacuate survivors from their planets, to migrate out into the galaxy, to develop weapons and technologies, to acquire water. And most Lyran refugees ended up settling in the Pleiades, Andromeda, and Apollonia. The majority from Vega ended up in Sirius and Orion, although many star systems became new homes to the Lyra and Vegan survivors, including Cassiopeia, Cygnus, the Hyades, Mars, Maldek, Venus, and even Earth. Understanding our ancient Lyran and Vegan lineage and our relationship to the galaxy helps us expand what it means to be human, to be proud of who we were, what we have survived, and how we continue to evolve, to be resilient, to be true survivors in that nature. This goes way back, way, way back. All right, let's talk a little bit about Lyran starseeds. So, expression of Lyran energy is going to vary widely for each starseed. However, they do tend to share these common traits. So, Lyran starseeds here on Earth do very well in physical form, far more than other types of starseeds because they have fortified that physical vessel. They really actually do well being in 3D, being physically active, working manual labor jobs. That's something that just they do well. They know it. Their soul has done it for so long. Lyran starseeds also have this very well defined divine or sacred masculine energy. They enjoy and need physical activity regularly. If they're not getting regular, like hard physical activity, hard workouts, that can really deplete them in a way that is almost soul crushing. So, like more than most types of starseeds, they really need good hard exercise regularly. Lyran starseeds are also very much drawn to the element of fire and earth. They are very grounded, but they're very tenacious, right? They're very connected to spirit in this protective way. They're also more closely connected to and or remember lifetimes during Atlantis, more likely to more of a tendency to embody Atlantean energy, which also has a little bit more of that divine or sacred masculine vibe to it. They're very adventurous. They're usually not fearful, very grounded, well defined root chakras, and enjoy the pleasures of life. They can sometimes come across as serious or stoic, but they're actually very kind, very optimistic, very encouraging. They're excellent leaders and problem solvers, and they have a keen ability to remain calm during crisis. Many may even gravitate toward work that involves helping trauma survivors, especially betrayal trauma. They experienced as souls the ultimate, the original betrayal. So they're also very sensitive to that. They do not take kindly to those that have betrayed them. It's like you're done, right? When someone betrays you, it's like that's a deal breaker. All right. So Lyran starseeds do have a dominant aura color in general of bright pink with some violet elements, some little tendrils of violet light. They tend to have a very strong connection to all the chakras, especially those lower three, the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the earth star as well. They can be standoffish before they get to know you, but in general, they're pretty trusting. They have kind of like this nice childlike, playful energy, especially if they feel comfortable around you. Some might even seem a little bird like or fairy like with features that might mimic that, while others do have more of a feline purring quality to them. Often their favorite animals are cats, lions, tigers, and all sorts of birds. The keywords for Lyran starseeds are ingenuity, survivor, pure heart, and flexible. Then we have Vega starseeds. And again, expression of Vega energy is going to vary very widely for each starseed, depending on their connections, different lifetimes that they've experienced, how they remember this, and where the Vega and Lyran codes are activated in their soul blueprint or their natal star chart. But in general, Vega starseeds tend to have more of this divine or sacred feminine energy that's well developed. They enjoy mental and emotional stimulation regularly, very drawn to the element of water and air, more closely connected to and or remember lifetimes during Lemuria, and they tend to embody more of that Lemurian energy. Very wise, almost mysterious energy to them. They have well-defined higher chakras, including the upper galactic chakras, the soul star, the stellar gateway, universal and galactic chakras. They're actually very kind, optimistic, and encouraging. Excellent, excellent energy healers. And they may gravitate toward work in esoteric arts, metaphysical arts, Akashic records, out-of-body experiences, energy healing of some kind. Very, very psychic. Vega starseeds are very psychic and may have prophetic dreams regularly. Really helpful if you identify with Vega to keep a dream journal for sure. And because the upper chakras are so well defined, they sometimes really do benefit from and need to practice grounding because they can get almost too elevated in their consciousness. They forget, like, oh, I'm still in a physical form. I need to drop down into the body. I need to ground what I'm channeling from the higher realms into the physical. So practicing grounding for Vega starseeds is really important. Vega starseeds have a dominant aura color that's generally a light blue, sometimes with other elements of pinks and orange or darker blues. It's much gentler than Lyran energy. It's more soft, it's more subtle. Some Vega characteristics are that divine feminine quality, more receptive, deeply spiritual, quiet, wise, and aligned with those higher chakras. Keywords for Vega are insightful, nurturing, spiritual, and healer. All right, get out your natal star chart and let's see if you have any of these Vega codes. I'm just focusing on the conjunctions, but you could also look to oppositions, trines, and squares if you know a little bit more about astrology. But if you don't worry. Get your natal star chart out with the degrees. You can get a free one on astro.com or the Time Passages app. And you want to check and see, do you have any planets, luminaries, or asteroids closely in alignment or in a conjunction to one of the stars of Lyra or Vega? So in the tropical zodiac here on the left, we have Alifar, Mu, Lyra at 10 degrees of Capricorn. Vega, the main star of Lyra, at 15 degrees Capricorn. Sheliak, Beta Lyra at 19 degrees Capricorn. The Ring Nebula, which is a very prominent one I see in a lot of starseed charts, at 20 degrees of Capricorn. Sulafat, Gamma Lyra at 22 degrees of Capricorn, and finally Alidfar, Eta Lyra at 0 degrees Aquarius. This is the tropical zodiac system here, which is what most of the free softwares online default to, and it is based on the sun's trajectory across the celestial equator and the fixed solstice and equinox points. Now, over the last 2,000 years, the stars have gravitated, have moved a bit, because the fixed stars move approximately 1 degree every 72 years. So the system here on the right is the sidereal updated coordinates based on the true sky. Both systems are relevant. Both systems are useful. I look at tropical as it codes a bit of the 3D matrix, your physical experience, physical current avatar personality, whereas the sidereal is more of an expanded higher dimensional way to look at your chart, the true sky, a higher dimensional accurate representation. So 4 to 5D experience. So in sidereal, the stars of Lyra fall at 16 degrees Sagittarius for Alidfar. Vega would be at 21 degrees Sagittarius in sidereal. Sheliak would be at 25 Sagittarius in sidereal. The Ring Nebula will be at 26 degrees Sagittarius sidereal. Sulafat at 28 degrees Sagittarius, and Alidfar at 5 degrees Capricorn. If you have conjunctions to any of the stars of Lyra in the tropical zodiac, you're also going to have them in sidereal, but what might shift is the zodiac sign. So you're like, whoa, that's a lot. I don't know anything about sidereal. It sounds complicated. Don't worry about it. Just focus on the tropical for now. You could also look at oppositions. So this would be things that are directly opposite to this in Cancer and Leo, and Gemini and Cancer and the sidereal. Particularly things, so like, let's say, I don't have any Capricorn placements. Oh no, what does that mean, right? You could definitely still have a connection to Lyra. You probably do in your chart. I would look in opposition to, do you have anything around 20 degrees of Cancer? The opposition is indicating there is some challenges for you remembering or integrating energies from your past lifetimes in Lyra or Vega, particularly if it's near the Ring Nebula. And I'll save trines and squares for another lesson because it's complicated. But please let me know in the comments below if you guys have any connections to Lyra, anything within like 0 to 3 degrees of any of these points, anything within 0 to 3 degrees opposite. Please let me know. I'd love to hear from other Lyra and Vega souls. All right, and then we have the Lyran Alignment. So with all the different starseed alignments, we have these 2 times of year, one where that star system is more in alignment or in conjunction to the sun, more visible during the day, and the sun acts as a portal transmitting light codes and energy from that star system down onto Earth. And then we have this 6 months later, an opposite alignment where the stars of that particular star system are more visible in the night sky. And these dates refer to the northern hemisphere. They will be reversed if you're south of the equator. So the Lyra conjunct the sun, the Lyra direct alignment happens December 31st to approximately January 20th each year. And Lyra is more visible during the day during that time. It's a great time to get outside and do some sun gazing. You can find the sun in the sky and you can just absorb some light codes. You can receive different energy upgrades, dormant soul activations, memories, stronger connections to Lyran guides or Lyran energy during that time. Now, during the opposite alignment that happens June 1st to 20th, that's a great time for healing, releasing, transmuting any core wounds connected to Lyran or Vegan energy, any past, karmic wounds. We have a lot of trauma from this lifetime, from all that just for conquering, betrayal, enslavement, horrific destruction that the reptilians caused. And so this opposite alignment is a really good time to work on healing any of that for your soul, to work on closing shadow timelines that might still be lingering in your field connected to Lyra and Vega. And it's also a wonderful time for doing some stargazing, for finding the star system in the night sky and connecting a bit with it. All right. So some resources and recommendations if you guys want to learn more about Lyra and Vega. Debbie Solaris, she is my mentor. I am one of her trainees of her. I'm certified for her Galactic Akashic Records. She's wonderful. I love her work. We love Debbie. She has a great website. You can also check out my blog. And then these are a few of my favorite books that definitely talk quite a bit about Lyra. The Prism of Lyra, I feel like, is a must read for any starseed. It's got a lot of great galactic history. It breaks down like the main 7 different races, and it's just a great book to have, by Lisa Royal Holt. And then she also has these galactic heritage cards. Maybe you're not a reader. Maybe you're like, I don't want to buy another book, but I love tarot and oracle. Then you might want to check out the galactic heritage cards. It's a huge deck. There's like over 100 different cards. They have a lot of the different galactic races in there. And then they also break it down by like current, past, and future timelines. So when you pull a card, you can kind of work with the different timelines too, as they are associated with different star beings. So that's one of my favorite decks, and I have a lot of oracle decks. So check that out if you're not a book person. And then this beautiful book, this is actually a series of 3. I've only read the first 2. I don't have the third one, but the first one I recommend. The second one got a little wonky for me, but this Lyran Disclosure, the Agenda, Volume 1 by Louise Rice James, very well written, very comprehensive. I thought it really expanded in much greater detail what began with the Prism of Lyra. So if you want to go even deeper into the Lyran culture, their galactic history, what life was like on their planets before, during, and after the Reptilian Wars, the Draco Wars. This is a great one to check out. It's a big book. It's a hard read in some ways, but it's very interesting. And then, of course, we have Elena Donnan's Gift from the Stars. That's a pretty great guide of many different alien or extraterrestrial multidimensional beings, if you want to check that out. All right, you guys. So just want to thank you so much for watching. Please check out my links below if you want to learn more about your galactic heritage, my Starseed Astrology for Beginners course, or book a reading with me. And to the children of Lyra scattered across the galaxy, may you remember your heritage and may you remember that you are loved. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one.